Okay, so we're going to go into the Legend of Mor'du. That features on the Brave DVD. And, this short, is obviously an origin story.
This should have been in the movie.
You know what? Here's the thing about this. I think maybe, if Brave had probably been braver, I think you could say.
No, maybe it's more like if they would have allowed Brenda Chapman to do her job.
Yeah, exactly. But if Pixar were a bit braver with Brave, I guess you could say. I guess maybe this is a movie that potentially we could have got along the line, or maybe even maybe if they did like a Brave series, maybe this could have been like a TV special, maybe.
Sure, yeah. So we heard throughout the course of the film about the four brothers, and that one of them was disobedient and strayed away from the family, and so we were briefly brought up with Mordu, especially when we see his bear form, but we really didn't know anything about him in the film until the witch comes along and says, "Oh, I have a tale to tell you about Mordu." And then we finally...
Do we still believe that's Mary from Monsters Incorporated?
In another time period, in another crazy dimension, maybe. Anyway, so we finally get to know more about the four brothers and about how the king was a benevolent king who treated his kingdom with, great prosperity and peace. And he had four sons, and each of the four sons had something special, and they were able to have their own unique abilities and talents. One was courageous, one was powerful, one was brave, and all that stuff. And so then finally the king dies, and instead of giving the oldest son, Mordu, access to the entire kingdom, he decided to give all four of his sons an equal share. And that really angers Mordu because he felt that he should have gotten the whole thing. And so that's when he decided to have war against his brothers, which we did briefly cover in the Brave movie, even to the point in which the three kingdoms that we saw in the film are actually separated, but they do come together every once in a while.
Yeah, the whole Mordu story, I think, was intriguing, but I'm interested to see what happened with the other three brothers, because why were they all fighting amongst themselves?
Well, it's kind of true. Maybe they felt that they should have gotten a part of the kingdom too. So Mordu brought on this rage to his brother, saying, "I should be the one to rule everything." And so there was this massive fight between all the brothers until that's when Mordu decides that he needed power. He wanders into, the rock surroundings, what we saw in Brave with the wisps, and he learned the stories about getting power, and so he goes over to see the witch, and she says, "I will give you this potion which will give you 10 times the strength, but on the one hand there's also the ability that if you want to be able to make peace with your brothers, then you can be able to do that." But nope, instead he just wants power, he wants to rule everything, and so he gets 10 times the strength, but he turns into a bear.
Yeah, and then when he actually wins against his brothers, everyone looks at him and he says, "This guy is scary. We want nothing to do with him." And they're fighting against the bear.
Well, they didn't even know that he turned into a bear. Remember that he killed the three brothers.
Yeah.
And then he went after his brother's army, and they didn't even know who he was. They just thought it was a bear, and so they killed him.
I thought his own army turned up against him as well.
Yeah, his own army as well. Yeah. So they fought against Mordu, and Mordu killed a lot of soldiers in the making, and so that was when he disappeared, and then basically the country was shattered because there was nobody to rule anything.
Yeah, and then eventually Merida basically would meet up with Mordu, eventually, and then basically that would be his bitter end.
Yep, so, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I wish this would have been in the movie, because that would have brought in so much clarity to Mordu and the family and all that kind of stuff.
If I recall the Brave discussion that we had in the original PixMinis series, I think, there was a lot of things that were left to be desired, I think, in Brave.
Yes, there was.
There was so much left to be desired. Even the title character, even the character herself, Merida, there was so much that we really wanted to see in this, this Pixar version of Disney Princess, because we were expecting so much more from it, because it was going to be different from everything else, but it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. And then the whole mother-daughter thing, which is a rarity, by the way, because a lot of the Disney films that feature...
Oh, did you hear about... just speaking about that, did you hear about what they recently said about, I think who it was Lilo and the creator of Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah. So
said that,
they were really upset that Frozen was getting critical acclaim
Yeah.
for introducing a film that featured a sisterhood when they already did it 11 years prior.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm pretty sure there was like someone else who said that. Oh, I did something before, Merida and like the mother had. I'm pretty sure someone else also said that. So
Maybe they did.
Maybe they did. Like,
but unfortunately, Pixar wouldn't do a good mother-daughter movie until Turning Red.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just, unfortunately, I mean, we still feel, even though this short, we still feel the same way about Brave that we did, when we first saw the original movie.
Yep.
So, unfortunately, there's not much really else to kind of add. I mean, it's just like, we're disappointed that, what happened in this short didn't necessarily translate into something a lot better that got related to this movie.
Yeah, so I mean, if you wanted some clarity about, the discussions of Mordu and the family, then watch the short. But it just leaves you wanting more.
Yeah, it's just it feels more like there was the in the Monsters Inc. DVD extras there was the origin story of how the monsters came to be because they separated from the humans, like eating like other animals and turning into other animals. Yeah. It's more kind of like that, really. It's like it's not really there. It's there to expand the story, but it's not like there to like tell it's just there. It's just like say, oh, this is what happened.
Yeah, that's
not really
true.
it's not really like a story that you can get invested in, really. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Next one.